What's going on, Afro Diaspora Nation? We are back with another sensational episode, man. Welcome back. It's a Tuesday chatting day. I'm your host, Baraka. You know what I'm saying? We are back. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining with us today. We are, first of all, thankful, for the guests for this year so far. It's incredible. You know what I'm saying? We have some pretty good guests out here. So shout out to all y'all. And obviously, if you always want to be out here to discuss, be a leader, follow OC Music on Instagram, DM them, tell them you want to be out here on the show, be our next guest. And we're going to have you here to talk about the most important stuff. Be a leader, man. We're going to make sure we get you out here. Anyways, we're back. We got another sensational day today. The guest of tonight, actually, y'all can't wait for this one right here. But before that, you know what I'm saying? I got to make sure I introduce my man over here on my side. Major, wake up, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm here, bro.
I know you're ready. But you always have to be more ready.
I am more than ready.
How you
man.
doing, my brother?
I'm doing so good.
Awesome.
Yeah. I just wait to ask
some questions, yeah.
questions, right?
Yeah. We see you on. I see you on fire this year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
this year, things are changing.
You've started pretty strong. I'm proud of you. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in. I will dive right away in and introduce tonight's guest. She is actually a very, very talented musician. And that's what the show is going to be mostly about today. We're going to learn about her and her career and how she's got today in the music world. But she does so much more than that. She's an actress. She's a teacher. She just does a lot of things. So, but I'm gonna let her to do showcase herself. I don't want to speak for her, but she gonna make sure she chat with you guys that way she's supposed to chat with you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you tonight's guest, Jenelle Reid. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
How you doing, Jenelle?
I'm doing pretty good. How are
Wonderful. I'm doing great. Thank
Yes.
you
You're
for joining
welcome.
us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How you like the place? How you like the view?
Oh,
Welcome.
I am so surprised that this place even exists. It's so nice.
Uh-huh.
It was like a little, I don't know, gem in just a little hovering. I don't know. It's like secret or something.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't expect this to be here.
Is
So,
it the first podcast you actually?
This is
Did it?
my first podcast. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Really
Wow.
excited to be
Amazing.
here.
Well,
Yeah.
we are blessed to have her for the
Yeah.
very first time.
I don't know about the first. Like, when you say the
Yeah.
first, it's like I don't know if I should believe that because you seem more natural. You seem more
Well-
chill than me. I'm the one who's like sweating and everything, but you like more relaxed, more chill.
I did a radio thing once, but it
Okay.
wasn't a podcast, so I'm really
Okay.
excited. So it was like that one was like maybe 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But this one we're gonna talk about some things.
We're gonna
so,
talk about some things.
Yeah.
And then we got everything. So I want to we usually like to give an opportunity for a guest to just introduce themselves,
Mhm.
where they're from, born, raised, and how did you exactly come up with the music, and when did you start this as like, this is something I want to do, so I'm gonna get into it. So just take us a little bit into that. Let's learn more like Janelle.
All right. Born and raised in Trinidad. I grew up with in a big family, pretty much. I had on one side about 14 direct aunts and uncles on my dad's side, and every Sunday we would come together with my cousins. I had like about 33 other cousins.
33.
Yes, it's a big family. So family was huge.
That's
And we'd
amazing.
come together on Sundays, and all my aunts and uncles, they would be singing. They'd sing songs together, and they'd do 4-part harmonies. My grandfather on my dad's side had something like a tuning fork, and that's how he used to teach
Wow.
his kids how to sing in the different parts.
Wow.
So whenever we go to our grandparents' house, they would all be singing, and they'll be singing in harmonies. And so I grew up being surrounded by voices, singing voices and harmonies.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much set.
That's
That
what
my
I'm
path
saying.
was set
You
pretty
don't,
much.
you don't need to go to college. You had all the school you needed in
Pretty
China,
much.
especially with a big group like that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was really amazing. Well, I mean, of course, we didn't have all 33 cousins there. I mean,
Yeah.
it happened
Yeah,
over
yeah.
time.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But Sundays was the time after church, come and we'd sing together,
Mm.
and of course we'd have food, and so music was and singing was associated with coming together. It was community, it was family, it was love. So I of course had no choice but to fall in love with music.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't blame you for that. If I was there, I probably would be the same. Major,
Wow.
I introduced you, Janelle, man. This is a beautiful
Yeah.
story, especially we know how much you love music. So
Yeah, I live with music, man.
Yeah.
I drink music. I
Mm,
sleep music. Everything music. I just wanna get corrected.
hmm
Is it Janelle Reid or Red?
Read,
Reid.
like reading a book.
Okay, so Janelle Reid.
Mm-hmm.
are you coming after me right now, Major?
He knows that I'm
This is
coming
happening.
after
This
him.
has happened a couple
Oh,
of
that's
times.
how you do it.
Yeah, he knows exactly
Oh
what
my
I'm talking
gosh.
about. That that name has to be pronounced correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
spelling doesn't really help. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Janelle Reid.
Janelle Reid.
I apologize to our viewers. It is Jenelle Reid
It's okay.
as we are talking. So please carry on, Major, with your question. Thank you for putting me on blast. I appreciate that. Yeah.
I know you do.
I
Not on
appreciate that.
blast.
It's always good.
Wow.
But let's talk about.
I wanna know,
Okay.
I know you're going to music, when was the first time somebody really told you that apart from being from a musical family,
Mm,
you really got it? You could be a musician.
like the first time someone probably believed in me.
Yeah, just
As a
telling you
singer?
like, wow, I like what you're doing. Let's start from there, right?
That wouldn't have come until a lot later in life. I was about 20. Pretty
Oh,
much right
cool.
before I moved to Canada, actually. I wanted to do dance lessons, actually, and my mom didn't want me to do dance lessons. She's like, no, dance isn't for you, but I can give you some singing lessons. So I went and met this vocal coach who did like these singing lessons. And at that time, even though I actually used to sing a lot, I had an amazingly, a very strong fear. I would shake and I couldn't get my voice out. My voice would just shake and I just was so afraid. Um, and this coach, she just kept working with me and encouraging me to sing. And sometimes I'd sing and I'd get overwhelmed by the emotion of singing, and then I would just stop, and she'd be like, "Why are you stopping? What are you so afraid of?" And she just told me that you know what you have a gift, and when you have a gift, you have to be willing to share it because your gift isn't just for you; it's for everybody else. So that really started to sink in deep. Like maybe I do have a voice. Maybe I have something to offer. Maybe I can dream to do this more. So I do remember that particularly as being kind of a moment of realizing I have
Wow,
something to
That's
offer.
really nice.
Wow. So you really went to a vocal coach
Yes, I had a few. I did probably like a few months
few
of
months. Yeah.
singing, and she taught me like the breathing. She taught me like placement, things
Yeah.
that I didn't really think
Mm,
about. I just kind of like sang, but she taught me just the different like basic techniques, and
mm.
I've been holding on to those lessons ever since.
Wow.
Well,
Mhm.
that's
I know we're gonna go through the terms like breathing, resonance, placement.
yeah.
So some people that's very important, all right?
Mhm.
But I just want to know, when you walk into vocal coach's room, what was the feeling? Did you feel like I'm going? Because me, back in South Africa, when I really decided to go face, and I'm saying facing a vocal coach,
Mhm.
it was really something that I had to put my ego aside
Yeah.
because I believed I could sing.
Mhm.
But on the other side, I was honest with myself, like, no, people don't really get it, right? Whenever I
Oh.
sing, it's like just screaming around.
Oh no.
Yeah, because you can tell from people's faces every time you perform, right?
Mhm.
And at some point, I had to decide to go face a vocal coach and kill my
Yes.
ego. So I want to know, how was your feeling? Mine was really awkward. I
Mhm.
didn't expect what I saw in the room, but I really wanted to correct myself and become a singer.
Mhm.
So I want to know if that was your purpose at that time, or it was just your mom, just a little girl being taken to a vocal coach because the mom has the vision.
Yes.
So
Well, in all honesty, I've always wanted to sing. I think I was hoping to pursue like some other things, but my mom was like, "No, don't worry about that. I'll let you do this vocal coach." So when I came into it, my attitude was still, it wasn't that I didn't get to do what I want. I was more secretly, okay, well, I actually do want to do this, but I'm afraid. So I did have a lot of fears and self-esteem things to battle. So when I
Mhm.
was going through that experience of having a vocal coach, it was very intimidating. I was scared. But the teacher, she was just so, she had this presence. She was had this command about her without even saying a word. Like I remember she was teaching us how to breathe, and she just would walk past all the students, and I'm just like, oh my goodness.
My
She's
turn.
like, wow, am I doing it right? Is she going to catch me? I was so scared.
Oh, okay.
But
Wow.
she just had this aura of confidence, and I immediately saw that this is something that I really want to learn. I want to learn that confidence in my voice and just who I am.
Mm.
So
So you were learning that in groups or like one
it
on
was
one?
a group.
It was a
It
group.
was just a very casual. It wasn't anything professional. It
Yeah.
was just these young girls that
Girls.
just
Yeah.
wanted to come in, or guys, but it was mostly
Yeah.
girls that wanted to come and sing and do something on their Saturday. I only did it for like I said, maybe about 3 months. That's been honestly the bulk of my entire training. Everything else was I took from that and grew and
Mm.
worked with other people and picked it up and said, oh, that was like what my teacher taught me. Oh, like I just kind of put them all in these files in my
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
but it got me started in a good path, I
Mm.
think. So
Wow.
mm-hmm.
I know I'm gonna get back to BK, but
You're stealing
let
all my
me.
good questions, bro.
I'm really stealing this one. This is very important because
2025 is something else, man. I don't know.
she's really reminding me of the time that I took lessons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mine went for a year and 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yours probably took 3 months or four, right?
Mm.
But mine was a year and 6 months. And I want to know, did you feel like it was very like a comedy when you started vocal
Like a
training? Because
joke?
like joking, like when you're doing like a.
Oh, it felt
Did it feel like
strange.
that to
It
you
felt
too?
weird. I'm
Like
like,
like
what?
I'm a
What?
kid.
You know what? And that's the thing that, all those things that I did, even though it was like 3 months, I've been incubating it and I've been like processing it and I've been learning how it was important later on in life. But yes, all these exercise, these
Yeah,
like thrills, these
yeah,
raspberries and all these things you do with your faces, and it
yeah.
felt like this is so strange.
This is not
But
what I expected.
it wasn't like, yeah, you have to do all this, like your face, you need to massage your face, you got to exercise your face, you got to do this with your lips, you got to do like why am I making all these strange pitches? And you, bit by bit, even with just the exercises, you learn to put your ego aside.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
think, to be honest with you, as a singer, my journey has always been about how do I make myself more vulnerable and more real, just like how I would approach my acting. Like,
Mm.
at the end of the day, the kind of singer that I want to be is to invoke and invite people to be honest and vulnerable and to share an experience. And so, even as something as silly as doing
Yeah,
or doing all these
yeah.
high sounds and low sounds,
Hmm.
um, it allows you to just expand your expression and your ability to express something, whether it's uncomfortable, whether it feels weird, because these are all real feelings. These are
Yeah.
all real human experiences.
Yeah.
Can we let that go? Can we
Yeah.
do this together? Can we enjoy this? Can we feel this together? Right? And I feel even as a singer, beyond having the technique, it's about what am I communicating? What am I inviting everyone to share with me?
Mm.
So, yeah.
That's
Wow.
man. I wouldn't let me slide real quick there because I know this
Yeah.
guy is gonna jump at it
Come in, man.
right away. Listen. So I just want to know how old you were when you got the vocal coach training.
I was
And
20. So,
so
I
before
mean,
that you were singing.
I
But,
was singing. I sang all the time at home.
Okay.
I honestly, there's a story. Me and my twin sister,
Mm.
when we were growing up, before we could speak, we were singing, and
Mm.
I would harmonize even as like a toddler before we actually knew a lot of words. We would harmonize, and I remember hearing a story that my parents said when me and my sister were singing as, I don't know, just babies or whatever. They thought that they kept the cassette player. Yes, cassette. They thought they kept the cassette player on,
Yeah.
and they realized it was us singing and harmonizing. And from then, me and my sister, we actually ended up harmonizing and singing a song for our kindergarten graduation. So
Mm.
my parents already noticed that there was something special about what our connection with music and being able to harmonize. So
Mm.
yeah.
You know what?
Wow.
I feel like I'm in front of a musician who's
I
teaching me how
was,
to sing right now.
of course,
Good.
of
I
course.
feel like I should be asking questions. But I'm like, yes, please say more, because I just Major knows how much I love music,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and obviously the people obviously are really loving the fact that the way you're explaining everything. So shout out to Fabian, who's actually tuning with us right now. Shout out to you, Fabian, man, for joining us, and just he said this is so inspiring. Just everything you were saying right there,
Well, that's
it's so
good.
inspiring. So
Thank you.
you're definitely inspiring a lot of people there, me as well, Major as
Yeah,
well, because
of
Major
course, yeah, of
Major
course.
gotta know. So was that after because you went to school and you have a bachelor degree on that music and
Hmm.
theater?
Hmm.
Was that after school with graduation where you took the vocal lesson, or
So,
was that before?
so actually, before I moved to Canada,
Mm.
I had the vocal coach,
Mm,
and I was actually studying business management.
Wow.
mm.
Nothing
To do with
to do with
music.
music.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
my parents really wanted me to kind of have a degree that, they can, we can, make some money or
Yeah.
just have a bit of more financial stability.
Yeah.
But once we moved, I was 21 when I moved to Canada.
Mhm.
And for those that have migrated, sometimes it's kind of hard for universities to recognize
Yeah.
what you've done. I kind of basically started all over again. And
Mm,
then
Yeah.
from there, I got into music composition and slowly wiggled myself to also get a double major in theater performance as well.
That's beautiful.
And in that time, I mean, but the whole time, honestly, I've been secretly and loving music and wanting to sing in these different ways,
Mm.
and just trying to find my way to kind of branch out
Mm.
and do something that I loved
Mm.
without it upsetting, my parents.
Mm.
And don't get me wrong, parents want their kids to be
yeah,
financially stable. They want them to be
that's true.
okay. They want
100%.
them to know that whatever they're doing, they're set and they don't have to worry. And unfortunately, with the arts and music,
Yeah.
there's no real guarantees with
No.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
navigating, trying to pursue that
Yeah.
was a challenge.
Yeah.
But I I'm happy that I did it, even if it's hard.
Yeah.
I still
No.
love it.
100%, because
Wow.
we often hear stories about musician, like real musician, how you
Yeah.
say, studying humming when you were just a toddler. That's for me. That's already a story right there.
Hmm.
You have that from the beginning. It's like you have to take advantage of that, and you were born to be a musician, basically. If you
Mm.
have that from the beginning like that. So my other question that will lead me is like, how did the school really impact? Because you were saying before that, but how did it really impact? Is it important to go to school, or somebody can figure everything out just by they going to vocal coach and they can? What do you
Hmm.
learn from the
Well,
school?
I think it's kind of hard because to answer, because everybody's path is completely different,
Right.
and you don't
Mm,
know who you're going to encounter. Maybe you go to school and maybe you feel like maybe you didn't really learn that much, but you made a connection with a teacher or you made a connection with a fellow student, and you that wouldn't have happened if you didn't go to that journey at school,
mm,
or you didn't have a teacher that became your mentor and
Yeah.
inspired you in a certain way, right? Somebody else, maybe they didn't go the school route, and they had some connections, and they someone was able to kind of map things out and they can go through that way. It's so different for everyone. For
mm,
me, I wouldn't I learned a lot in my school. Like my degree was actually in music composition,
Right.
and technically I even did my theater degree because I actually got to do more music performance than the theory in the composition. But I did learn how to articulate music on script, and I learned how to you know I guess communicate
yeah.
in a more, I guess, standard way.
Mm,
And I won't I don't regret that at all. I made some connections here and there, but
Yeah.
for me, when I really started to take my music seriously, it was after I graduated, after I got a little bit more confidence, after I started meeting with people and connecting with the local artists and singing with them and getting that kind of experience as well. So I can't
Wow.
really say
Wow.
I say, you know what, take the opportunities that you get,
Yeah.
make the most of it. Can't really say one is really better than the other.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just the part you learn something from it. I think that's the biggest take away from everything you've said right there. Is what you learn, going into music.
That's true.
I know Major's definitely, yeah. No, she got you there, bro. Yeah.
So yeah, I want to know something. I know we're still gonna move into the music composition and your degree. We're gonna dive deeper into that.
Okay.
But I'm gonna take you back to square one when you meet a vocal coach. I'm trying to make a connection between my experience and your experience. You see, because everybody teaches differently.
Yes.
When I first walked into our vocal coach's room, I heard these strange terms, singing from the diaphragm, the larynx, got a lower larynx. You gotta create resonance when you're singing, how you project your voice. And I had to know the differences between different resonance, like a chest voice, mixed voice, a head voice, and the bridges, And I want to know if that's the same case, because I didn't know before. I used to think we sing from our stomach. I used to think the voice comes from the stomach.
Yeah.
And for the very first time, I heard about vocal cords that generate the sound and how they vibrate. So I wanted to know, is this the same experience that you heard, or yours was just like a sing this way, do this way, this way?
I think I don't want to make this sound like, oh, I knew a lot. I learned a lot, but I think when I had my vocal coach, she was able to articulate things that I was kind of exploring and discovering within my voice.
Cool.
So and that would also be based on the kind of music that you're exposed to. Someone who probably they're hearing all this big booming music, they probably will only think that they need to sing from their stomach or using their diaphragm or using their chest, right? Because the music that's you're surrounded with. Exactly, sing from here, because maybe the projection and the volume and and the way that you hear people singing will only encourage a certain way of singing. But if you were to explore other genres, maybe even pop, maybe you had a vocal coach and introduced you to pop music, and it's more kind of a mixed or a nasal type of tone where you're used to singing, more in your chest and kind of big. Now you have to retrain a different way of singing. And I think it all depends on what your exposure is and what artists and what music you kind of want to emulate and where you want to go and where you see yourself, and even just knowing your own voice as well. So I think I don't know, I think it's hard to kind of, I guess, again, like, say one is better than the other, but I think it's all based on what your journey is. Do you want to be someone that can, hit these notes because there's a song that you really want to be able to sing that has these high notes? I have to know I can't sing in my chest. I got to be able to flip to my head voice. Right? And so a vocal coach can help you to kind of know how to navigate that flip to your head voice.
Wow. Do you can we clear this? Correct me on this one and let's clear it once and for all. Do you really need to be a classical singer to be a good singer?
Definitely not. I have no classical training, and I know lots of people that don't have classical training. I think to be a singer, first of all, we have to kind of divorce the idea that a singer is only this one thing. There are many types of singers. Good. There are many genres of singers that don't. They are more about the experience. They're more about the conveying, which is kind of more like me. I love to convey. I love the storytelling. I love the emoting. I love the communication versus a technique, which is probably maybe more of a fad right now with TikTok, with all the runs and things, where even runs, for example, that was also a break from the classical, and that was an expression. But now sometimes we take something and then we put it in a box and like now it's this thing, right? But I don't believe that singing was ever meant to be put in a box. We can learn and we can understand it, but we also have to kind of see what is it, what really fits with me. Where's my voice in this? We can't lose our own voice when it comes to singing. And there's so many ways of approaching singing. I think yes, if you get the opportunity to have some classical training, it will help. I say always take whatever opportunities that you have, but just because you may not be given or be privileged to have certain opportunities doesn't mean that you can't reach your goal to be an amazing singer. So
Wow.
Woo!
Wow.
Just
That's
saying.
tough right there, Major. That is tough, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, I first of all, I'd ask you, what is a classical singer? Because I didn't know that. Even for the people who are actually watching, you might ask, what's a classical singer? I'll come up, like, you have to explain that before you even ask that question, Major. But I like everything you said based on that, especially knowing your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
So now my question is, do you think that's where the ego comes a lot with people who like the vocal coach won't work for me because I know who I am, I know how I sound like. So doing all this whatever it is you want to do is not helping me. So I'm gonna just stick with what I got. So what's your response to that? What would you say to that? Does it work in terms of like elevating you as a singer personally, or is it like you can keep the way you want to sing, but like you have to know
I think
how to guide yourself?
I would say, like, especially for someone like me, for example, where maybe I would have been really afraid to try something, or I didn't really know that I could hit certain notes, or I didn't know that that I can sing in a certain timbre or a certain style or genre. I have made it a point to within my journey, even if I don't get big opportunities, I don't get a big stage, I'm always going to grow in some way. I'm going to try one day if I get to sing a classical song, if I get that opportunity. I'm going to try maybe to sing a classical Indian song if I get a chance. Like, I am all about learning, and I think I'm only going to get better with whatever opportunities that I get to continue to expand and grow, because this is my passion. This is what I love. And if I love it and I can see a connection with someone, even if they sing in a different language or in a different style, if their soul is in it, your soul knows no language. Music, so then music does not have to know any language, doesn't have to know any genre, any style. So for me personally, I will take any opportunity that I get to grow. For somebody that maybe they said, okay, this is me, this is who I am, that's great. You are really sure of who you are. But I would say you probably still don't know your limits. You still don't know. I think yourself is always to be discovered. We're always changing, we're always growing. And I would say don't limit yourself to what you think you might know now, because it might change. Or you might learn that, hey, this technique or this style actually does help me in some way. So I would say, as a singer, it's very important to be open. That's
Wow.
I'm sorry, mate. Just 1 second, man. Just 1 second. Now we're fighting for the question. This is how good this show is getting. Now we're fighting for who's gonna take. Just to follow up, Major, because this is important, even for me, and for the audience out there. The time frame of being in that process of learning how to sing, because most people, they go there 2 weeks in, they're doing the exercises. They go in the studio, whatever they want to do. Oh, I'm so good at this. They try and start hitting the notes, but it's not working properly. And then they start getting frustrated. Oh, this is not working. This course, maybe it's not good enough. What other time frame would you give someone to really be like, you need to at least give it this amount of time before you start giving up your hopes? Or
I think if you like singing, do it. Doesn't matter. I think at whatever capacity that you have, I think you should just pursue singing if you like it. Take it seriously. I don't think you can really give a time frame in terms of like, oh, I need to grow at this rate or I need to grow at this rate. As a singer, for example, you can literally wake up every morning with a different voice. Something might be going on in your body. You might not be feeling well. You have a different voice that you now have to navigate. Oh, this note, I used to sing it. Now it's giving me trouble. Maybe there's something. Maybe I have some sinus issues. Things are closed. Maybe there's hormones and all kinds of things in your bodies. Your voice can literally change in any given day, and you just kind of have to wake up with it. Check yourself, warm it up, do the things that will get it warmed, and you kind of almost reinvent yourself. Every show that I do, every song that I sing, I never sing it the same way because I have to be in tune with what am I capable of. Maybe I sing this
Mm.
note and for some reason I can hold it out for forever. Okay, I'm feeling it. I'm going to hold it out forever. Today
Wow.
I'm
Well,
going to
that's amazing.
sing it for like 5 seconds. Okay, I sing it for 5 seconds. I commit to that 5 seconds like if it's forever, and I
Mm.
accept and I'm okay with it. So
Wow.
I think you have to have a different kind of mindset in terms of if you're really wanting to sing, you have to always accept. It's a lot of vulnerability, honestly. You
Wow.
have to accept where you're at, always be willing to grow and always willing to just be honest. If you're honest with yourself, you're not going to push yourself and do,
Mm.
make a choice that probably will not work in the moment, for
Right.
example.
Uh-huh.
You take your time, you figure it out. Okay, I probably can't make that note. Or maybe I just have to expand my just breathe in a little bit more to make it. I have to work a little bit harder today, whatever that is. But I think that is just your job to just pay attention to your
Mm.
body, where is the limits, and trust and honor that.
Mm.
So
Beautiful.
Wow.
I
Wow.
love how you answer that. Stay
Wow.
locked in. So another way to put in. Don't
Practice.
lose focus. Practice.
Practice.
Most important thing.
Yeah. Talking of the ego,
mm-hmm.
when I started singing, and I'm trying to get a connection between your experience and mine and
Yes.
see how they work together,
Yeah.
right? I started in church, singing in church. And at some point, singing in church, I would just lose myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lose myself and start shaking,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't know where I am. And to me, being in church, I thought that was the Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, when I went to the vocal coach for the very first time, she listened to me, and I got into that realm again of shaking and sweating everywhere. And she's looking at me. She's like, "Oh my God, this guy." Then she was like, when I finished singing, now I'm waiting for her to give the reaction.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "How do you feel now?" I was like, "Well, I'm feeling better." She's like, "Yeah. Do you know anything about being nervous?" I was like, "No, what do you mean?" She's like, "You were nervous. That's what being nervous means."
Okay.
Now I have to train you
Oh,
not to be nervous when you're singing.
Okay.
And that's when I discovered that many people go through that
Mm.
without knowing, and they think they've been filled by, the Holy Spirit, or maybe they just feel the audience, or they just because they love you so much, it's the
Okay.
passion. But they won't remember that when you lose yourself into that, it means you are not controlling what you're singing anymore.
Mm.
Mhm.
Now the
Okay.
voice is carrying itself in a way that you didn't prepare, right?
Yeah.
Because you're now nervous. So I want to know if
Hmm.
you went through that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I might disagree.
Yes.
Because I mean, I also grew up in church, and
Mm.
I've seen people that kind of have that same sensation that you have.
Yeah.
But there are, I guess I would kind of categorize them in two, for lack of a better,
Mhm.
way. But there are those that gets that feeling, that overwhelming, like expanding and kind of over encompassing feeling, and can navigate it still with their voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are those that, get that feeling and may not know how to navigate it, and it's overwhelming and you lose it.
Yeah.
I honestly, because like I said, like I think music is a spiritual and it's a connecting experience. Those experiences that you're explaining is the experience that I enjoy as well. And I've had to learn how to navigate that feeling where
Mm.
I don't just get completely lost
Yeah.
in it, but also remember, okay, I am experiencing this beautiful, overwhelming experience. How can I use my techniques and get everybody to feel and be on that same
Yeah.
place?
Yeah.
So that's where the technique and the singing and
Mm.
and your training comes to play, to be able to navigate that. Because when you can, you get there and you can still sustain your voice, and you don't shake. You're able to project it. You're able to take it and bring everybody in. Everybody's feeling that. that feeling. And I don't want you to necessarily feel like you have to lose that experience, because
Yes.
that's a beautiful experience. It's
Yes.
now the idea of how do I take that experience
Mhm.
and still have a control of my voice that would still allow everyone to come in, and not for your voice to not be able to carry that experience at the same time. If that makes sense.
Because the funny thing about mine at that time,
Mhm.
I still have that same experience. But at that time, when I lose myself, even the musical notes will be lost.
Yes.
So I'll be out of tune.
Mhm.
Now the people start looking at you like this, because when it's not
Exactly.
working with the music anymore, it creates that, tense.
You lose everyone.
You lose everyone. Then they're just looking at you like this.
Exactly.
Until you open your eyes.
And then you realize, oh,
Oh my God.
that's
I can't
exactly.
think into that position, man.
Well, that's
That's
exactly.
Oh, bro, I'm coming from far.
That's
can't.
exactly what I
The
mean.
measure that I know.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
me meeting him for the first time, I was the one who was sweating. I couldn't stop. I was
you were
shaking.
nervous.
Yeah,
I was
you were the
nervous.
nervous
But
one.
he didn't tell me I'm nervous. He let me suffer through the whole process because he's been through the same thing. But
Yeah.
he would
That's
never
funny.
tell me like I was there, bro.
But do you remember I told you gotta learn.
Yeah.
Let's do some practice.
You did tell
Because
me
I
that.
didn't want to bring the same word of being nervous to
Yeah.
you, but I could approach it in a different way.
Oh man. Oh,
I
man.
mean, maybe you could have been, but I felt like what you were saying, you didn't. Your own assessment to your feeling, it wasn't nerves. It was
Yeah.
an overwhelming feeling that you actually felt
It is
good about.
overwhelming.
So
Yes.
I would say that you know your feelings more.
Yeah.
So I would say that that is what it is. Like
True.
you know your feelings.
Yeah.
I
True.
think the only what she was hearing shakes, which is also also known for someone when they are nervous,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
The
mm,
outer appearance of what your voice was doing
Yeah.
sounded like nervousness. It
mm.
sounded like you were shaky. It's not, well, because your voice was probably shaky, right? But
Oh, it was
no.
shaky.
yeah, right.
Oh, of
But
course.
I mean,
Oh man.
but oh, it sounds shaky. That means you're nervous. But I don't.
Yeah.
I think your experience is your experience, and I don't think the root cause was nerves, like maybe what it was for you.
yeah.
But it's just about, okay, when I get this overwhelming feeling,
Yeah.
I still have to be able to find a way to sustain my notes, stay on key,
Mhm.
involve and invite everyone with me on this journey,
Mm.
versus being so overwhelmed that your voice goes here and it shakes, and you
Yeah.
know, we lose
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Wow. We're gonna move to the next part.
Okay.
But before we move to the next part, I want us to touch this.
Okay.
Many people, either when I was on the other side, and the time that I feel like now I do it at least in a good way, and I meet other people in choirs or maybe in the studio, most of the people that I've met don't really like to hear their voices
Mm-hmm.
recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And here's my question. What's the importance of being recorded and listening to yourself as a musician? What can we take from that? Even though it's bad, we don't feel it. We don't like to hear our voices. But what can be the importance of that,
Mhm.
being recorded and just listen to it again?
Yes. One thing I had realized about myself, and when I hear myself back, is that the way that I hear my own voice echoing in my head is a
Mhm.
lot maybe lower or bigger
Mhm.
sounding than what maybe everybody else outside of my own head will hear. So
Yeah.
there's a bit of a shock factor sometimes when you hear it in the way that other people are hearing your voice. It's unfamiliar. You
Yeah.
only
Even to
know your
yourself.
voice the way it echoes in
Yeah.
your own resonances in your own head,
Yeah.
right? So it's unfamiliar and it's scary. I used to consider my voice as sounding very childlike. It sounded like I was a little girl talking.
Mhm.
I can even hear it in myself. I do have a bit of a more youthful kind of sound in spite my age.
Mhm.
That's something that I had to come to terms with, because if I'm calling myself a musician, I need to know what the audience is experiencing. I need to know what I sound like. When you hear yourself, you can really analyze and critique, and you can go back and be like, oh, I kind of cracked when I flipped into my upper register.
Mhm.
I kind of I was really shaky. I thought I was on pitch. Oh no.
Mhm.
But we have to still do it with love for ourselves, and that's the thing. That a lifelong lesson. Like I said, sometimes you wake up with a different voice. Oh, it's really off today. I'm not hitting the notes today. But
Yeah.
have some love for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And just take it for what it is. Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
I'll work on it again. And you learn how to love yourself in a different way when you're
Yeah.
able to just accept what's
Mm.
happening.
Yeah.
Don't judge yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your voice. This is your gift. Love it, nurture it,
Yeah.
harness it, hone it, right?
Just a
Wow.
follow up question there. Could you, for the producers who are recording you whatsoever, should they understand that today might be a different day that my voice sounds like this, or should you put in, you should put the work in regardless? Because
I think being a professional, I've done some studio work, where you can tell when the producer has maybe not that much experience with vocalists,
right,
versus someone that they know how to listen to the voice and how to even get the timbres or get the voice sounding the way that they want and how they want to produce it. Um, as a vocalist, just like any musician, be prepared. Most musicians that have their charts, they would work out their rhythms and their timings and all these things before they go into a session, so they know the music. They're not learning it on the day.
yeah,
Just like you're a singer, know your song. Maybe you still have the words, but you've practiced. You come warmed up. You come ready.
yeah,
That being said, you'll work with different producers, everybody with different skills. Some
yeah,
are producers that are, bass players, and they might have a certain style that they want to hear, or the genre, they have a certain kind of preference. They may or may not always know how to what to do to get the singer to do something that they really want. They may not be able to articulate it.
Yeah.
But come with a playful attitude. That's what I've done. Just, hey, okay, what about this? You try this. Okay, more like this.
Yeah.
You just kind of keep trying, and you play. If they're seeming upset with you, don't take it personally. Just you come with your best attitude. You do your best. You play.
Yeah.
You try it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. That's all right.
Yeah, you did it right.
Just
That's
keep
okay.
trying.
That's all right.
I don't know. Does that answer?
The answer is
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
The answer is the question.
Mhm.
Because I've been through that situation, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there, musicians, they know how it is.
Yeah.
And they don't want to disappoint the producer because
Exactly.
you're in the moment.
Yeah.
And if you wake up that day, your voice is kind of horrible.
Just warm it up.
Yeah. What are the technique, real quick? Like, what are the techniques that they can use to warm it up?
The ones that I usually do, because I've definitely had some rough days, and recorded on some rough days. I would kind of say I'm sorry, if only at the point where I'm honestly it's visual or it's audible that I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
Just I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold, whatever it is, but just leave it as that. But I would do a lot of like humming.
Yeah.
I would hum. I would start with like, really low hums.
Yeah.
Like humming, it means like
like,
Because
right?
some people don't really know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
those
just-
helps. Trust.
humming.
Yeah. It
Just
opens
to
up.
I start really, really, really simple humming at a very comfortable pitch. Sometimes like I have so many sinus problems that my pitches won't even come out, and so I know that I have to spend quite a lot of time warming it up and humming. I start like I'll sing, and then I'll try to go 3 notes. Okay, is that easier? Keep doing it 3 notes. Okay. And I slowly work until I get more and I get more. I get a bigger range, and then I will do those
The entire scale, right?
bubbles like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do all those things, or I would blow into a straw. That just usually helps
Wow.
to keep things nice and moist, and then and open and relaxed. And those are the things that I mostly do to get myself ready on a rough day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So to all my friends, straw works.
The straw.
To those who think straw is just for babies, it works.
Don't
Sing
lose your
through
straw.
your straw.
Don't lose your straw,
You know.
people.
These are some really good
Keep
stuff,
that
guys.
straw-
Just
don't-
letting
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Free
People
lesson.
People get, it's not working. Throw the straw away. No,
Yeah.
keep that straw.
Do
Keep
those
trying it.
Yeah.
Seems weird, but just stick with it. You have to stick with it for some time. It's honestly, and as long as it takes for you to get to a place where it's a little bit more easier for you, just to stick with it.
Wow.
This
Well,
answer a question, Major. I know you
Yeah.
you really wanted to dive into that.
I think
It's like
I'm
a
gonna
free
move
lesson
her.
here.
It
Free
is.
vocal lesson.
Yes. Um, being a singer,
Mm-hmm.
being an artist,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted us to. When did you realize that? Okay, now I should take it to the next level where I become. Because when you start getting into music composition, that's not just like a singer anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's larger than being just a vocalist.
Mm.
Because so I want to know what was the motivation? Why didn't you just decide to stay as a singer? And
Oh,
you
you
know,
want the honest answer? You will not be impressed by the honest answer. But
yeah, go for it.
well, the honest answer is that I was migrating from Trinidad to Canada,
Yes.
and this is kind of what when we talk about privilege and access, and in terms of
Mm,
like your experiences and how we value certain experiences and what that allows you to get. I had this vocal coach that was just a casual vocal coach, and I learned singing.
in
But in
Trinidad,
Trinidad, before
yes.
coming to Canada, it wasn't. We didn't use notes. We didn't use scores. Everything
Mm,
was done by ear.
mm,
Um, in applying to some of the schools that had more performance music practice,
yep.
you had to be able to supply or apply certain techniques that I didn't have. And as
Mm,
much as I felt like I can sing this song, I can hear it, I can learn it, I can learn all the notes and do all the articulation, but I won't be able to do a sight reading piece. I won't be able to do a particular component that they're looking for to get acceptance.
yeah.
So I didn't feel like I had that option, and I didn't have a coach. No one really around me was able to kind of navigate and help me prepare in that way. I was kind of doing this on my own, and mind you, my parents wanted me to do business. They didn't want me to do
Yeah.
Yeah.
music,
Mm-hmm.
so I was on my own. So as I got accepted into my university, it was I won't say it wasn't a lower standard. It was a different focus. It was music composition where they would actually offer fundamental courses that I knew I can do and then get into the program. And so
Oh.
it was my only what felt like my only avenue and my only access to music, and I took it. And then when
Mm,
I did my composition, I did learn lots of things that I didn't necessarily plan on learning, but I took it and I ran with it. And then I also got into the theater program where, oh, but I get to sing.
yeah.
So I just took whatever opportunities I had to
Mm,
get to the places that I wanted to go, even if it
wow.
felt like a roundabout and a longer way to do it. So
Yeah. But do you now, knowing what you know now, do you now believe that a good musician should really understand theory?
Um, I think it depends on what circles and what avenues you're wanting to go. There's some places you're not gonna get anywhere without theory. You have to
Yeah.
know your theory.
Yeah.
Um, I think especially if you're playing instruments,
Yeah.
I think you need to be able to read a chart. You need to be able to if you want to be someone that oh I need you. Here's a chart
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
now gonna try to figure out how to like read this chart or
Tell
read
them
this
sing,
notation and you
sing, and
don't
then I'll
know,
follow you.
right?
Yeah.
Or there's no amount of times that you can listen to the music long enough to get ready. You just
Yeah.
sometimes might just have to see it there and be able to sight read it. So
Yeah.
if that's the thing that you're pursuing and you're going for, you need that skill. So that would be really really good. If for whatever reason reading music is a barrier because maybe you're neurodiverse or you have different maybe reasons why that is not something that's accessible for you,
Mm,
that's okay. You wherever you opportunity that you have, you pursue it and you do it to your fullest ability and then see what opportunities open. I know some bass musicians that I've worked with. They only do things by ear. They're totally happy with it. That's their path, that's their choice. And then I have other bass players, for example, they are able to um play the bass. They can be impromptu and play something that
mm,
they just was given. They also can play piano and
mm,
and
mm,
they've been diverse, so then they have more opportunities. So I think
mm.
whatever your choices, there are consequences, good or bad, with whatever choices that you make,
That's the
and you
truth.
just have to kind of be aware of it, know it, and be okay with your decision.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. But within your experience,
Hmm.
do you feel like in places that you've been to, I know that we have different avenues, but in places that you've been to, you feel like as soon as you said, I have this degree in music
Hmm.
composition, and things like this, it makes you larger than just being a singer vocalist.
I
Do you
think
feel that?
having a music degree has given me some privilege in the
Yeah.
fact that people will take me seriously because I decided, oh, you went to school for this, you took the
Yeah.
time to study this,
Yeah.
and so I reap the benefits of having a music degree because um, I've went through that path, and
Mm.
also even though I'm just the singer, for example, as some people
Yeah.
will say, when someone asks me something, I can say, oh yeah, well I want you to go on the four, for example, like oh with that so I could at least I might know everything, but at
Yeah.
least it gives me a way to still communicate
It
what
gives you a
I'm
language,
wanting. It
right?
gives me a language that I can still share to some extent
Yeah.
to the
Mm-hmm.
musicians, and I get to enjoy that because of what I've been able to learn. So um not saying like I know I'm saying like yeah it's not one versus the other, but I would just say if you're given the opportunity and this is your passion and this is what you're wanting to do,
Mm.
if you get the opportunity to have an education for it, um, you go for it. Unless you are absolutely sure, then sure, you make your choice. But just know that that choice may hinder you in some ways,
Mm.
or it might just make you focus in a way that you want to.
Mm.
But I felt that I don't really regret my choices. I don't really regret going to school and learning it. I felt like it has given me a bit of respect in certain circles. So
Mm.
yeah.
Wow. That's
Mm.
really,
Beautiful.
really
Beautiful.
amazing.
Major, you satisfied?
No, man, I have a lot, man.
I know we do.
Yeah,
We're running out of time. I do not want to get in trouble again today with the man in the back.
This
Yeah.
show is real mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my show.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I
Today is my show.
I understand
Like,
that. I understand.
I gotta
Yeah.
embrace
Yeah.
it.
Anyway, but I just to clear, I mean, just to be clear, I don't really necessarily shun one over the other. Like
Mm.
like I feel like everyone has their own journey and their own path. I would just say, just be passionate, be open minded.
Yeah.
If you're convicted and you're sure this is not the path for you, just honor it. Do what you believe is right.
Yeah.
We may not all have the opportunities to do certain things, or we might have lots of opportunities and we have to make a choice.
Mm.
But whatever you're doing, do it passionately. Still be open. You never know, and just take every chance to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, Major, I don't think you want me to move past this discussion. You can bring it back in anytime.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want,
yeah.
But I want
Move
to
on,
dive
move on.
a little more because she's gotten a chance to perform in front of different audiences as well.
Yeah.
I just want to know how, like the process of you going to school and the vocal coach and everything. How did that impact your performances, and how did it help you? What did you take away from performing for different audiences and how to control the pace and everything?
So you mean like what did I take away from like the
Yeah,
like
your
my experiences?
Yeah, experiences.
I think in school, I was honestly the only Black person in my program, in the music program when I was doing it.
Mm.
So I had to learn a different kind of resilience, especially in that time. There really weren't a lot of Black people around. So my taste and my style and the things that I wanted to create compositionally, I tried to literally notate Caribbean rhythms, calypso style rhythms, and I was able to do it. But the biggest revelation is that even if it's on paper, if you don't have an understanding of the rhythm, it doesn't sound very
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can do something which I
Mhm.
understand that, so I can do right, and I can
Yeah.
like enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if you're doing, it's the soul is gone, and I
Yeah,
realized
that's true.
from that, those experiences of kind of learning my liking, learning my style, learning what I was longing for. I was longing for home. I was longing for um, my music that I honestly took for granted when I was in Trinidad. Um, I learned that it's a part of me and I need to be able to express it in some way. So honestly, my biggest takeaway was learning what was really important to me in my music and then outside of school, creating music that had a bit more of a Caribbean essence to it, or expressing in a way that I felt was really important, that really communicated my soul and my heart and my intention. And then with my vocal coaching, even though it was the 3 months, it is the foundation of everything that I've learned in terms of how to take care of my voice. I didn't really have a lot of training after that. It was just all experiential and, learning, getting little tips from people here and there that I crossed paths with. But that was like my main training that I've just used and milked and stretched and grew on for the years after, really. And I just made the most of whatever I had. So, yeah.
I feel like that's also what creates great performance, and great audience performances from all experiences you've gotten to, and that's just what's so beautiful about it. I was curious about how you just the experience you got from it, because here performing in a different, it depends what you're performing as well, but they're all very, very different,
Yes.
and the audience could be different, the type of music could be different, but I just wanted to know what are the from what you've taken away from that, what are the things that you're supposed to absolutely focus on when you're performing live? Because some performing live without a backtrack is a different story than having instruments behind you and you go ahead and start performing.
Yes.
So it becomes a whole different thing, especially with the mic level control and everything.
Everything.
Yeah. So I just want to know if you have anything that you can share about that,
about my live performances and
yeah.
how I manage it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still learning how to manage it. Like I mentioned, I was super shy. And I'm still learning how to grow in terms of just kind of embodying my music more and communicating more, with, of course, the moving parts of the mics and the monitors and 4 or 5 other musicians behind me. And how do I want them to go? I want them to drop out. I want them to do all these things. And it's just been honestly a work in progress and a learning of how to communicate. Okay, I want this a little bit slower. All right, drums and bass, y'all drop out. Let's just do this. Okay, let's everyone come low. Let's sing this. Let's get some audience responses and that kind of thing. I've just been, in recent time, as I've been performing a little bit more, I've just been playing and just taking risk, taking risks with the audience. And my biggest thing too is not relying too much on the feedback of the audience, because
right.
Because
I do have a question about that one
because
too.
honestly, like even though I've been performing pretty much only here in Vancouver, my life and what I expect of an audience growing up in the Caribbean, for example, is very different than what you would expect from an audience in Vancouver,
right?
Where everyone's just like just watching.
Yeah.
And it's not much it's not, people are not used to that communication.
Right.
Of like, sing, or like yes, or like I'm excited, or they're dancing. Most times there's a lot of and you're just you're surprised, and then they come after you and like, oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so you I
guys
didn't
were
know
enjoying
Yeah, you guys were enjoying it.
didn't know that you were enjoying it, right?
Yeah.
So the big lesson that I've learned is you do have to control your energy, your own energy, and not rely on the audience necessarily giving you the energy that you need. You have to come ready to have the energy that you need to give your best performance and perform regardless of what you think.
Exactly.
Because you don't really know what people are experiencing. People don't necessarily communicate physically to let you know how they're feeling. So you kind of just have to be true to yourself and have kind of a tenacity or a fortification within yourself to just have the energy to do what you do regardless. So
I heard the Jamaican and Caribbean audiences are the more hard to please. Is that true? Because I feel like they have more music. It's like you gotta be having energy, as much energy as you can to move that crowd. Sorry.
I would say, I mean, I've experienced both. I feel like, at least growing up, I felt like at least in Trinidad, they can be a tough audience because we're serious about our music.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Yeah.
serious about our music.
Yeah.
We don't play.
Oh,
You have
man.
to bring and especially they expect you to bring the energy. You
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
be fully committed. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
just you do your thing. No,
Yeah.
you gotta be in it. If you're in it, we're in it. Like Trinidad is one of those places like it's like the birthplace of soca.
Yeah.
It's like
And
energy,
soca is
energy,
more
energy,
energy, right?
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, soca and calypso,
Yeah.
but I would say soca is the one that it's all about just feeling something, feeling a vibe, and just sharing it and
Yeah.
letting it go to the nth degree, basically, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not bringing it,
They leave.
it's like like I know
Yeah.
some people
Toy
will
Saba, look at
throw
this guy.
toilet paper at
Yeah, there's
right? Like
oh,
no joke,
I'm
right?
wasting my time here.
Don't waste my time.
Yeah.
So it's a serious thing.
Oh man.
But I would say in here if I'm performing and I can sometimes spot out the Caribbean people in the audience, or even like the African people in the audience because they're like, no, you're bringing. No, don't worry. Like I
Yeah.
almost feel like they're like, no, you're bringing it. Thank
Yeah,
you. Like
yeah.
I don't care about anybody else. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it's like honestly, it is quite the joy. It is.
Yeah.
It could be a little bit of a refreshing sometimes to
Yeah.
see someone interact in the way that I'm probably
That's what
more
I'm saying.
used to.
We need people
Yeah.
like that in performances. Hey,
Yeah.
you gotta make sure you give us a little energy too, man. Like, we need that. You want
Yeah,
us a different
It
level.
definitely helps.
Yeah. All right
Wow,
now.
Wow. I think being in front of an audience that is kind of like quiet, just listening to you, can make you really confirm that you are a professional musician.
Yeah.
Because you didn't expect that, but you face it,
Mhm.
and then you know that all that matters is I'm doing my job.
Mhm.
As soon as you do your part, you know that the rest, you can't control my feeling.
Yeah.
Because first of all, sometimes people listen to you and they're trying to find out who you really are as a singer, right? They've been listening to rock and roll for years, and now you're bringing R&B. It's just kind of like a different
Yeah.
feeling. So they are learning that language. As soon as they get it, maybe they can start moving. But in the end, they know like this is a good performance. We had good time. So I want to know, you being a professional musician, do you feel like or any experience that made you feel like me being a professional musician could get me in trouble with other my fellow musicians who didn't feel being at my level?
Hmm.
Like they feel like they are frightened by what you already know.
I don't feel like I've really experienced a lot of that. Honestly, like
Yeah.
my start up in the music industry here as a local artist
Yeah.
has been because of me volunteering my time to sing support vocals and sing with these other local artists that I really admired. So I was like the up and coming one, and I learned how to appreciate all sorts of different styles, different musical levels. Maybe someone's really good with their tone is amazing, but maybe someone's really good with their harmony. Someone's really good with their stage presence. Someone's really good at their performative and how they interact with the crowd and the band. Right, so I've learned all these different things from people. So for me, I almost expect that that kind of language or that expectation from other singers, and maybe I've shielded myself from some of that, but I've never really felt like I've gotten that tone of, oh well, you're so good, or oh, or any kind of like I'm slighting anyone.
Yeah.
But I hold true to the idea that no one. This was one of the things that my vocal coach told me, and it's probably why I feel this way. No one can sing like you, and I can't, and you can't sing like me. Basically, I can't sing like you. No matter how good I think I am, I will never be able to sing like you.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Right? And I will, and that is not something that I can take away from you.
Yeah.
And I honor you as a singer, someone who's pursuing your singing. I respect you and I respect your journey, whatever that is, and I respect your voice. I think everybody has something to offer, especially when it comes to your voice, and especially if you're exploring what you have to say and what you might develop as an artist. it's not going to be my experience. I will never sing
Mm,
the song that you create the same way that you, because you've lived that.
mm,
So I just, at least in my perspective, I respect everyone as people and
yeah,
accepting people and accepting what they
their
have to
art.
offer and their
Mm.
Yeah.
art. It is
Mm.
their art. There is
Yeah.
no critique to
Wow, that's
someone's
beautiful.
art.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I've
Mhm.
watched Jill Scott?
yes.
Yeah, I've watched her doing an interview backstage
Okay.
while Erica Badu, Erica Badu,
Mhm.
right, was performing.
Mhm.
And they asked her, "How do you feel?" That's Erica Badu on stage.
Mhm.
And you're coming right after her. You know
Mhm.
how she's moving people over there. And you know what I like about her? She was like, well, I'm Jill Scott.
That's
You
right.
shouldn't forget about that.
Mhm.
And I have my own queendom.
I love
And as
it.
soon as I walk up there, I'll come with my queendom
That's
and
right.
I'll express it.
Yes.
That's what makes me Jill Scott.
Yes.
Yeah. I respect Erica Badu, but I am Jill Scott.
Mhm.
So I really love what you're saying. It's
Mm.
that's the
Yeah.
truth, actually.
It is 100% the truth. And I think if someone has a problem with it, it's just them just needing to work out being
Mm,
more confident in who they are, because at the end of the day, it's a lack of confidence in your voice. And I'll just trust that in time, if you keep investing in who you are, you're gonna get a confidence that no one could ever take away about yourself. You are who you are. You learn to love yourself.
mm.
You learn to love your voice. You commit to it. You know what's different than anybody else. Then you start to feel more secure, and you don't feel as threatened by anybody else. And that's
Mm.
I'm saying that now, and I've definitely know that I've come a long way with that, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna continue to grow in just
Yeah.
being confident in who I am
Mm.
in my voice.
But I'm trying to to enter into your brain right now. And I know
Okay.
he's gonna laugh at this, I promise you.
Okay.
Have you ever
You know,
experienced
go
that some folks are just too confident that you feel like they overdo it, then
Mm.
soon as they start expressing, either they play or maybe you sing, you realize that no, you gotta learn this thing. You really need to go to school for this.
Yeah, well, you know
Even
what?
though it happens internally, right? You don't bring it out.
You won't say that, but
Yeah.
I think what I would say, I've that's the thing about music and the art.
Yeah.
It's harder to hide. It's
Mm.
harder to hide especially when it comes to your voice and who you are. Um, you can't really hide, at least not for long. Like just like acting, if someone's not really in the moment, you can tell. You don't even know what it is, but you can tell. We can read if someone is really feeling or they're really sad about something versus
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I'm really sad. Like,
Mm.
it's like,
You
something's
can
a little
tell. Mm.
off. And I think the voice and singing is very vulnerable that way. And so I think sometimes if someone is like, they're super confident and it's, I would say that for them, it's something that they have to, they're battling through and they will hopefully keep working on, because it's they're masking an insecurity. There's something that's insecure about their voice, and then when they sing, um, maybe you can tell that maybe they're not fully committed to what they're saying. Maybe they want to say it, but they don't really know how to say it, and then they feel bad, and then so the best way that they can cope is by being a diva and yeah, well, you know what, I think that was really good, and tell themselves and well,
Yeah.
kind of more just kind of lying to themselves maybe.
Yeah.
I can't really judge, but maybe that might be part of what to play, just to help yourself handle something that you don't really fully accept about it. So honestly, like I empathize, because in bits and pieces I feel like I've been, but they're never really a diva. I've never been that kind of person, but
Yeah.
I've had my own way of masking some insecurities and fears.
Cool.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
So
Wow.
it's for them to figure out, and
Yeah.
you just encourage as best you can, or
Well said.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
I know he's about to move on. I
Uh,
just want to finish with
I
this
wanted to
one.
ask you. I wanted to ask you.
You wanna
You got
something?
me interested. Yeah,
go for it.
I want to know some stuff. I want to know some stuff.
Go for it.
I want to know what are the pros and cons of being self-taught or having a teacher teach you music.
Mm.
Um, I, I mean, in my experience, I would say that there's a lot of things that I've been self-taught, but I was able to be self-taught on top of having a coach
Mm.
for like, yes, a very short time. Honestly, it was just 3 or 4 months, but I really milked that. I know some people, they would have had a coach for like years. Maybe they were like
Right.
kids. I know there's people that they've been voice training since maybe 7 years old,
Right.
and they're in their 20s, so they have like decades of
Serious,
like
yeah.
Yeah, doing it.
constant regular training and
Yeah.
all these things, right? I mean, there will always be advantages. I think having someone in your corner that can really tell you and navigate things,
Mm.
that would have probably been very helpful for me
That's true.
to have.
Mm.
I didn't have that, but what I had, I ran with it and I did my
Mm.
best with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like sometimes I think it's the story and it's the journey
Right.
that counts more than, accolades or just what you're able to say on paper. For example, oh, I've trained for 10 years.
Mm.
Oh, I've been singing for 15 years.
Mm.
Oh, I've been performing since I was 10 years old. We have all these things. They're all experiences and they're
That's
all
true.
valid in some way.
Yeah.
Um, my main focus is honestly just be humble.
Yeah.
Be humble, be willing to share. Like, I feel like even doing this
Mm.
podcast, me being able to share something, it does do something for me, because
That's true.
it does validate that even if I didn't go to a music school where I didn't do a voice, I didn't get a degree in voice where I learned, classical music and sang bel canto,
Mm.
or,
Mm.
did a bunch of sight reading and opera. I didn't do
Mm.
any of that, right?
Mm.
But still, even being able to be here and being invited to show, well, my path was a little bit different. I had 3 months of training that I've
Vocal
stretched out
training.
for decades.
Mm.
And it wasn't classical training. It was just casual. And I value that because that was something that I was able to have, and now I've used that to pursue something that I'm really passionate about. And I think passion will get you there no matter what.
That's the truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really well said. That's absolutely well said. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, we are very grateful to have you here. You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
You were thanking us, but we are thanking you. Like, everything you've laid out today, we can really see that you are a true musician.
Mm.
I'm excited to even, see what's coming for you. And I do want to ask you what's the plan for you here in Vancouver in terms of being an artist or musician
Mm.
and so on. But we are grateful that you're here. Like, everything you've laid out,
Yeah.
people are so inspired with the show
Oh,
and asking questions like, "Oh my gosh, she really knows what she's talking about,"
That's
because she's
good.
Yeah,
been,
that's the truth.
yeah, because she's been through all that. So yeah, my question also be what's the plan for you here in Vancouver, because you've earlier when I had a chance to talk to you, say you've been doing music for like 8 years, let's say,
Mhm.
and then it feels like it's a very short term because you're still learning things,
Mm-hmm.
But just what's your plan, and what have you learned so far in these 8 years and coming
Okay.
for you?
Well, I mean, what I've learned in the 8 years is how to balance passion with making a living and keeping a roof
Yes,
over
sir.
your head.
Yeah. I was gonna get to that too. We're gonna get into that.
That's
Yeah.
been a real challenge, because sometimes I don't sing for like a month, and then I have a show, and then
Wow.
I gotta be ready, and maybe I'm living in a situation where I can't really like vocally sing out loud. I gotta do my things on the way driving the car. I gotta do all my things. I gotta be ready, and I'm gonna give it my best. And
Wow.
I'm not gonna show that I haven't been singing for a month, for example, because
Wow.
I've been hustling and teaching and
Mhm.
working and doing all sorts of other things.
Oh.
So not making excuses for things like that. But I would say, wait, what was the
Yeah,
question?
the plan for you that
Oh, the
you
plan.
want to vision.
So yeah, so
career.
I mean, in this 8 years, it has been a slow process. I've only just recently put out some songs, and because of lack of funding, um, it has taken very long to do. But my plan, especially in this year, is to really get on some grants and try to get some help with grant writing. I'm trying to
Nice.
meet some people to talk to me about and see how I can be successful with it,
Mm,
because I have lots of songs that I have been performing,
mm,
but I haven't actually gotten to a studio and recorded it, or I've recorded it, but it's not to maybe the in the way that I wanted to
mm,
represent myself. So I want to be able to do it in a way that really represents who I am, and
mm,
um, just showcase a little bit more of me. So
mm,
I'm very focused on trying to get some grants
mm,
so I can show people what I have to offer, because I do have a lot,
mm,
um, and get some more music out there. So I'm really wanting to put out some more music,
mm,
and hopefully do some more live performances
mm,
at festivals and things like that. So
mm.
that's the goal for this year at least.
I love it. That's really good. I love
Wow.
it. I love it.
Wow.
Maybe if you don't have any other questions,
Yeah. No, I have. I do have a question. I do have a
Well,
question.
I don't even know why I
I
say
can't,
that.
I can't miss on the
I
business
don't know why I
one,
say
right?
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. What I expected is not what I got on the business side.
Okay.
I want to know, your mom really wanted you to do business, right? In
My
school,
mom
right?
and dad,
And
yes.
your parents,
Mhm.
they wanted you to go to business school because they expected you to become this financial stable, right?
Mhm.
Or independent. But
Yes.
now you decided to do music, which is following your heart.
Mhm.
I want to know, if you can stand up in front of them right now, would you be able to tell them, Mom, you see, now I'm living with my music, and what you envisioned that time, I'm able to pay through through my heart or my passion.
Mhm.
Are you able to do that right now, or is something you're still fighting for?
Um yeah, I think that's a good question, because I know that there's a lot of people who probably are in the
Yeah,
same boat in terms of what your parents wanted for you and what you want for yourself is
yeah.
not not in the same, it's not going in the same way.
Mm,
And maybe even your parents' idea of success versus your idea of success is not aligning at the same time. So even if,
mm,
for example, for me, I'm still able to live on my own, I'm
Mm,
able to have a career in teaching,
mhm,
and
mm,
juggling career in teaching and juggling acting and auditioning, and juggle singing, and juggle um, all sorts of other little things here and
mm,
there.
mm,
Um, do I am I where they're at this age? No,
mm.
they would probably want to see a steady job. You know,
Yeah.
maybe they would have envisioned something very, very different than where I'm at.
Mm.
I would still consider what I'm doing as successful because I'm following my dreams.
Good.
So in terms
That's
of,
very good.
but in terms of like communicating with that, they may not necessarily align they because they love me. Obviously, they want something what they believe is better for me.
Yeah.
So sometimes at this stage, communicating that, we may still not come to agreement because our idea of success is still different,
Yeah.
if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. But I still respect them, and I've learned to not be not to feel ashamed of what I'm
Wow.
doing. That
Wow.
was the real success in this journey, is
Mm.
to not feel ashamed and to be more convicted that no, but this is very important to me, and maybe you may not understand why it's important to me,
mm,
but I know you love me, and I know what we're going to be feel different about this situation, but in their own way they're supporting me by just maybe not,
Encouraging you,
just
right?
encourage me in their own way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I can honor that, and and I can just kind of sit easy, knowing that this is my journey and I'm okay with it. It's not what they want, but I'm doing something that I feel convicted in my heart to do.
mm,
Wow. That's really amazing.
mm.
You spoke about teaching. What do you teach, if I may ask you?
I teach at the Surrey School District. I am a teacher on call, and I teach from kindergarten to grade 7.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was my
Mm-hmm.
next topic. Thank you for stealing from the next topic I heard from a major. That was my next topic.
Oh,
She's a
really?
very talented,
Yeah.
woman, and a very hardworking woman. So
Yeah.
I was about to shout out how, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Janelle for just, she's
Yeah.
so hardworking. She's a teacher, she teaches, and I want to know how that goes in, balancing between music
Oh, it's hard.
and teaching, and just
Yeah.
how being in
Yeah.
school, because I know
Yeah.
as the school got their stuff you gotta deal with, whether you want it or not.
Preparing, right?
Preparing, yeah,
Yeah.
the school got their rules and things, and
Mhm.
then you have to deal with the parents and all that stuff too. So
Mhm.
you have to really handle those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got into teaching. My dad's a teacher, so
Cool.
I guess kind of fell
Yeah.
into that.
That is like
It's like yeah.
Yeah, that
So
was
you
like
know,
that
there's
is
like
like
yeah,
at least
God,
my
one.
it's like,
At least one.
this one
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
and I enjoy the primary level. I started teaching kindergarten, which very humbling. I love it. I usually try to sub as maybe a K teacher, grade 1 or grade 2. I like the younger kids. I love their personality and their spunk.
Wow.
It is a lot of energy, and sometimes
Yeah, it is.
sometimes I would
Kids.
have to sing, like I would be talking all day, and that's like part of like the vocal care. That's probably the most challenging for me
Mhm.
is talking all day, using my voice,
Yeah.
um, loud kids, talking over
Yeah.
them, and then trying to find a way to get the voice calm
Calm
if
it
I have
down.
to sing like that same
Exactly.
night,
Oh,
or I
man.
have to sing,
Oh
or I
yeah,
have to
because
teach
you
the other
scream all
day.
throughout the
You're
day. And
talking.
you're like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. So then I don't scream, and then I say, okay, I'm not gonna raise my voice, and I
Yeah.
do these things. I kind of get my attention by finding ways to kind of no, don't. I'm not gonna go at a certain
Yeah.
level because
Yeah.
I gotta sing. In tonight or in a couple days or
Wow.
whatever.
Yeah.
I gotta be very vigilant, but it can be very
Yeah.
it can be very very hard
Yeah.
Yeah.
at times, and it could be kind of tiring. So it has been kind of hard to balance, but at the same time, teaching on call. This is why I teach on call. I have a bit of flexibility
Mm.
with it. I
Mm.
can do my auditions for acting, or I can take a gig here and there. I can just kind of juggle and handle all the emails and all the other like admin kind of stuff that I might have to do while
Mm.
teaching. But it's honestly it's one that's very hard, and I'm still trying to figure it out because it definitely has taken a toll for sure. But
Wow.
gotta keep trying though.
Yeah. But do you feel like your musical ability has helped you to being able to maintain yourself into the teaching realm? Because I know and I've heard that kids who excel well in music, they really get some advantage. Like I mean intellectually, like to because if you can be able to memorize pieces of music, you know
Yeah.
that's a lot.
It's true.
That's math.
Yeah, I'm yet to have taught, like actually teach. I think I did maybe 1 or 2 days of a music teacher. I mostly just teach in the classroom,
Oh, yeah.
so I don't get to teach my passion, which is actually
Yeah. I was gonna
the
ask you that too.
real thing that I really wanted to get into. But sometimes, like unfortunately, with the schools, when you were missing a classroom teacher, music is the first thing that gets cut.
Yeah.
So
Good.
right, so you
True,
so
yeah.
sometimes I would take a music job, and actually I don't even want to take a music job because I know that if there's a failure to fill, I'm not gonna get to teach the music, and and sometimes even the way that I do music, like I said, not perfectly classical, right?
Yeah.
They want certain kind of music where I'm more
Yeah.
into feeling and more into
Yeah.
community and more into kind of like jamming,
Yeah.
and there's something that's very beautiful and organic. That's the way I want to do music. That might be outside of the way that we
Yeah.
do it in schools. But there is definitely music is extremely important, and I guess this would be a perfect plug to really harp on the need for music in education. I feel maybe we don't do it enough, and we don't do it in maybe a more innate and natural way that might be more easier to find in an outside of a Western context. I must say, where music is just it's community. It's happening all the time. It's just in your day to day. A drop of a pen, you sing something, and then everybody can join in. It gives you that release. It gives you that togetherness. It brings everybody together in a way that it's hard to do outside of that. And I think it's so needed in school. And I
Wow.
feel like we need to have it a lot more. One of the things that I end up doing, I just finished a term teaching physical education, and sometimes if I am having a hard time just getting the kids' attention, I'll just sing. I'll sing, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, can you hear me? And then I'll do this and I'll see what they would sing and respond.
Oh, that's
And I get them
awesome.
to sing and respond. And
Oh, that's
sometimes that's
awesome.
just a nice way to just kind of get some singing and get them to be happy.
That's a wholesome right
And
there.
it's just, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like I bring it in sometimes
Yeah.
just to bring us together and just to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
That's how I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely pick the grade 2 over grade 7, of course.
Yeah.
The grade 7 won't give you that. They sing. No.
When I have sang, I promised a grade 7 one time. I was like, okay, guys, you know what? If we, have a good day and we get along and we try our best to focus and stay on task, I'll sing for you guys. And I remember holding myself to that, and I sang for the class, and they were pretty excited about it. So I use it as a leverage any way that I can, work. So I got it to work in grade 7. It's like, okay, this is a big deal because grade 7 sometimes they're not easy. It's a tough grade.
No. Wow. I remember when I was in grade 7, that was not easy.
It's a hard grade. It's hard on the kids for sure. So.
Yeah. Wow, that is really beautiful, Jenelle. And like I say, I'm giving you a shout out, just for the hard work you put in. To all the Black queens, actually, all the Black queens just putting, like, we have your back. We seeing the work you put in, and we always got your back. Keep pushing it. And I'm pretty sure you inspire a lot of people today as well.
Of
in
course,
terms of music,
of
in terms of teachers,
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we know how it is to deal with kids as well. Major can relate to that. So it's just really, really nice. And but also my last question, I guess, before we close out this show, which has been really amazing, is in terms of like just bring it back to music a little bit. If you want to find a teacher that really fits you as a musician, what kind of questions would you ask, and how can you find those
teachers?
Teachers, yeah.
In terms of knowing how to find those teachers, I mean, I know there are teachers out there. There's like websites and things like that. I would say wherever you go to look, good to ask, more about the teacher, their experience. If their experience and what the things that they've done in their career kind of align with the things that you're wanting to pursue, I say that would be a good indicator of someone that can mentor you, because you want to find someone that's gonna kind of help shape your voice and train it in a way that where you aspire to be. Someone that I'd still say have a good ear, because music it's all about what you hear. And being able to hear, okay, well, you like this genre, but you're singing in this kind of way. Can they help you to feel more successful, that they're, helping you to grow in the way that makes you feel, oh, I'm really moving somewhere. But I would say music and singing, there's so many different genres. So I say you really have to kind of pick your teacher based on even how do they sound when they sing. I remember, I can't remember why, but I was, maybe they were fellow teachers, and I heard one of the teachers kind of singing, and they said that they sang like in certain genres, and then I heard their voice, and it sounded very classical and very very classically trained, for example. And I felt, well, not to shade, but it's just like, okay, well, if someone says that this is their genre, and then when they sing, they don't necessarily sound in the way that
the way
that genre is. I'd say just trust that, because your ear is going to really be your guide at the end of the day. Yeah. You can have all these techniques, but if you don't have the ear to help you to get untuned, you can rely on technique, and you don't know that you're not sounding in the way that you want to be sounding, or you don't even recognize your own voice in it, and you're only hearing an idol that you admire in your head and you don't even know how to in tune with your own voice. So you don't even know,
Yeah.
oh, am I singing in key? Am I
You are
singing the
hearing
right way?
Beyonce, we are hearing
So
something,
someone that is,
something
yeah,
else.
but someone that is training
on,
you to
man.
have your own ear
Come
and to
on,
Yeah.
hear yourself.
Yeah.
And then also the teacher that can emulate and kind of show a path that, oh, this is what I'm interested in as well. I want this to be kind of like a mentor and help me to kind of get to that. You have to be inspired. Find a teacher that inspires you.
Exactly.
I would say.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this can be tough. I'm sorry that I can say this, but this can be tough on producers like recording engineers,
Mhm.
studios, churches.
Mhm.
You know, we face on a day-to-day people that believe they sound great,
Come on.
Mhm.
right? They really believe they sound great until you record them and they realize that, okay,
Mm.
I should look for somebody to blame.
Mm.
And they blame you
Y-
on you.
I think what that talks about, I think as a society,
Yeah.
I hope it's okay to say, but as a society, I feel like we okay, if you were in Trinidad, for
It's
example,
okay to say.
you sing and
Spill
I'm
the
just gonna be
beans.
say a little part. So I was like, how you singing so? Like, what's that? That's a songing good.
So
They-
in Trinidad, they will bring
They
it
would
to you
tell
right
you
away, right?
straight up that
Yeah.
nah, Gil, you have to fix that. You have to fix that.
Really?
Like,
Yeah,
come,
even
they,
in
No
Congo,
way.
It's
even
like,
in
you're
Congo,
singing
they'll tell you right
off.
away. Yeah,
they would tell you.
yeah.
I mean,
You're out of
they
tune.
won't let you. They won't let you go down. It's better you know.
Come on,
Yes.
but that's hard to take.
It is
That's-
hard, but I mean, it's hard to take. It's only hard to take if your surrounding isn't used to it. It's only
Yeah,
hard to
right.
take if you've been told over and over that you are good, and then someone comes out of the blue and tells you you're not.
Yeah.
It is easier to take within that context because
Yeah.
you are used to hearing people being very honest
Yeah.
and know that even when they're being honest, it's not a judgment on your character or who you are. And it doesn't mean that okay, you might be good now, but doesn't mean that you're never going to be good. Okay, you need to work on that. You need to work on it. Okay,
Oh, man.
how about if I try this, right?
Yeah, they even
Constructive
give you,
criticism,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I mean, of course, you'll have those that will just put you down. You don't need that either,
Mm.
right? But so I'm not saying just just put someone down. Be constructive and offer a suggestion before you say something. Fair
Yeah.
enough. But I think I can't really speak on a large or on a whole, but I have seen how maybe there's a lot of cushioning with in terms of how good or areas of growth
Yeah.
to the extent that it makes it too hard for some people to maybe be more honest with themselves to be able to grow in a faster way, right? So I would say if you're in an environment where you can encourage, like say you have a niece or a nephew and they're like, hey, okay, sing this. Okay, all right. So, okay, you think you could sing a little bit, a little bit, take a deep breath and sing it. Okay, all right, you sing. Okay, that was bigger. All right, so can you do that and also sing this note? Like you can
Yeah.
still tell people without, crushing their
Being harsh,
spirit,
right?
right? You can be like,
Yeah.
okay, you know what? It wasn't bad. I think we can do better, right? You can still do that, but I feel in some circles, not all, we may not always be encouraging that. So then it's hard, and then people might develop over time an image of their abilities, and then you're setting them up for a downfall or setting up them up for failure if you don't tell them.
That's what I'm saying.
So
That which is interesting. That will bring me to a question. I think we're ending the show with a fire right here. let's end the show in the right way.
Let's do
With
it
a
right.
fire. So should there be a rule? Not really a rule. Should it be exactly like this? Producers or music engineers should have the right to tell whoever they're recording, this is not good. Like
Yeah.
the musician should not get upset about it. It's not anything personal attack, but they should be able to, because if you don't tell, then the music goes out.
Yeah. So I feel I mean I've had good experiences, so I'm not so I haven't had experience where, okay, well, um, oh, you're bad or whatever. But I think as a singer or as a musician, if okay, I've experienced this in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
No one tells me anything,
Mm.
and I'm left guessing, and then all of a sudden I don't hear from the person, and you're like, what did I do wrong? No one told me. I didn't hear that I was good. I didn't hear that I was bad. I didn't get any feedback, and now I'm just left hanging, and I have no room to grow or improve.
Mm.
And sometimes I feel like sometimes where some people might be too polite and don't have the courtesy of just giving someone a little bit of a hint or a clue and say, okay, well, it wasn't bad. I think we should next time. I would work on being more stable on your voice or whatever the case is, and I think we fall short as to we just let people go and we let people slide, and then people are guessing, and then they get in their heads and they're self-conscious because
Yeah.
no one is being honest, and it causes a lot of anxiety. So I
Right.
think producers need to, in whatever way they can manage, be honest.
Yeah.
I still think
Thank
be
you.
kind, but be honest and tell people so that
Thank you.
they can grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means a lot to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying because of me, I'm not saying just on me, but I'm just saying it's better like that, because if I'm bad, like, I want someone to tell me,
Yeah.
yo, this is not good, man.
Mhm.
Before I actually go out there, and then when the music start playing, you start getting like pretty bad reviews, or people are being harsh in different ways. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, that guy should just tell me not this wasn't working in the first place before I release my thing out there.
Yeah.
But then so as an artist, you're supposed to know, do not take anything personal when it comes to recording. So
Mhm.
that's why I was asking this question: should the producers have that responsibility of, you can be polite, but make sure you let know the person. Don't just take it as about, oh, I'm just making money off this guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, so I feel like each producer is to its own. Some producers they enjoy the editing process, and they will auto tune and do all these things to make
Fix
someone
it in
look
the
good,
mix.
and they do all these
Just
things
fix
to
it.
come up with
come
that.
on, man.
Some
Come on.
producers may be okay with that.
Yeah.
And then some producers, they'll be like, "Oh, I had to do so much, and I got this out, but I don't want to ever work with this musician ever again."
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's on the producer's side. It's not really their fault if someone comes in their studio saying that they are a professional. They expect. So I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate in a sense, because
Yeah.
that you come in and you say you're a professional, you say
Yeah.
this,
Mhm.
and they're expecting that, and then now they're having to challenge someone's credential and someone's title that they've put on themselves.
Yeah.
That's a really big blow.
Yeah.
So I think the work needs to happen before they end up in that producer room, before you call yourself an artist, before you say, oh, I've done this, this, and this, and I'm really good. I think artists just come in humble and be ready to listen to the producers, and I think the producers should be willing. Every producer is different, but hopefully the producer can give the feedback when something is not working, and just be honest and just say the thing. If it's really bothering that producer,
Yeah.
just say it. Don't just suck it up and then say, oh, I'm not gonna work. Be kind, guys. Be kind. Give the feedback. Maybe they take it, maybe they don't, but at least you gave it. You gave them that chance to be able to make it a growth
100%.
opportunity.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm.
I'm gonna jump
That's
into
my
this,
opinion.
I hear you.
Yeah.
It's really good. I feel like, yeah, like, people need to hear that. I need to hear it, because obviously everyone has a room to improve.
Yeah,
in a
for
way.
sure.
So I respect everything that you say. I need to hear it. I'm pretty sure our audience who are with us also need to hear that.
Yeah.
I think this one can be tough. The reason why it can be tough is in school, as a music producer, we are taught or we are trained to be at the artist's service, right?
That makes sense.
You are there for a mission
Wow.
Mhm.
Damn.
to to
For
let the
sure.
artist express themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to materialize what's in their brain.
Okay.
It's not your song.
Yeah.
You are not gonna be the one who's going to be defending that song everywhere you go.
Yes.
But again, if it turns out to be a good song, your name will be on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you gotta be careful
Mm-hmm.
of what you're bringing out as criticism. It has to be positive.
Mm-hmm.
And being positive means you have to be able to enter into the artist's mind before you bring your opinion. Because
Mm-hmm.
your job is to press recording, right?
Mm.
That's your, because when we talk about producers, I think we have to differentiate um, between a producer that is hired by the label so they can oversee the project. That person has the right to tell, like, this
Yes.
sucks.
That's true.
Right?
Okay, I see.
This really sucks.
Mhm.
I can't sell this. That's a producer that is hired by the label,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because they take the project as theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You are the artist, but I'm the owner of the project.
I understand. Yeah. He's like, okay.
Now,
Yeah.
now,
Oh, that hurts.
yeah, of course they do, yeah.
Those ooh.
Because
I
they
can't
are
even
hired.
sell this?
Here's one thing, right? Here's one
I
thing.
never.
That's tough.
Here's
That's
one
experience
thing.
I'm yet to have. So.
Yeah. No.
Here's one thing. The producer, the label hires the artist.
Mm-hmm.
They hire the studio. Now they want somebody else who understands the industry,
Mm-hmm.
who knows what's good product,
Yes.
to be in between, and that's the producer.
Right.
So the label trusts that person for that job to say, we can sell this or we can't
Cannot
sell this. Because your music might be able to be sold in England, but they want to sell it in Canada,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right? Or maybe this is good for selling in Africa,
Right.
but we want to sell in Asia because that's where we have a big audience.
Yeah,
Okay.
Now, what you're giving me is not going to sell in Asia.
Yeah.
So, so that's the job of a producer.
Yeah.
Now, in his case, where he was asking, he's talking about Jonelle coming to Major and say, I'm coming to the studio, I want to record.
Yes.
And now you have paid me
right.
to produce your music.
Yes. I see.
Now I'm at your service.
Yes.
I have to be careful with what I
Yes.
say. The first thing I have to do is to build that relationship. Because once there is a
Come
good
on.
relationship between me and you,
Come
then
on now.
yeah, that can break those red lines.
Yes.
First of all, whatever I'm going to say, you're not going to take it personally because
Mhm.
we are kind of like a family now.
Okay.
Now we
And
are
we're doing
helping
something
each other to
together.
bring that product.
Yes. You know what? I understand. And I feel like I was gonna say, you know what, communication at the end of the day is just the key thing.
Is the key for
Um
sure.
like at least knowing, okay, like what genre, okay, what kind of groove were you thinking about? Talking about all these ideas beforehand and laying it out.
Yeah.
And then when you as a singer come and sings your part, then the person who's pushing the button, they can still help and say, okay, what about you think maybe kind of sitting a little bit back
Yeah.
on the beat, for example,
Mhm.
okay? Or how about if you kind of, like
Yeah.
kind of crack a little bit as you sing, or on the onset you kind of glottal the sound, like whatever that thing
one
is,
works
right?
for sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that,
Yeah.
like that is the capacity of like what I'm thinking.
That's really true.
Can
yeah.
all
That
producers
works.
do that? I definitely don't think everyone is, because maybe not everyone is, an expert at whatever you're coming to the studio for. But at the same time, I think communicating and just saying, okay, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you come there as an artist, they are expecting you to be an artist. So, so just be as prepared as you can.
Yeah.
However, this might be your first time going to the studio. You can prepare as much as you want. This is still your first experience. You're still going to learn. So I still think that there's some understanding that the producers can have to artists that are coming in.
Yep.
Not everyone has 10, 15 years experience, or they might have 10, 15 years experience, but not in this genre.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things as to why maybe a singer might
Yeah.
not be doing something that you think it is.
Mm.
Be honest. You
Yeah.
let it land. If it doesn't land, then okay. That's
Right.
Cool.
that's for me to now
Yeah.
deal and edit. But
Yeah.
at least you've given that person the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that's caring at the end of the day, at
Yeah.
least to
That's
say it at
very
least
well said.
once.
Yeah. Here's another case though. I've watched Wycliffe Jean. You know Wycliffe Jean?
Mm.
Wycliffe Jean, he used to be in the Fugees with uh, Miss Hill, Lauren Hill.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You know Wycliffe
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So very good producer, very
Mhm.
good musician, amazing
Mm.
musician. Now he worked with the Destiny's Child, with the Beyonces, and then at some point he had to work with Whitney Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Now Whitney drove from wherever she was. She came to Wycliffe Jean's basement to work with him,
Mm-hmm.
and then with all these bigger people in the industry following Whitney Houston, Wycliffe felt like Whitney was singing flat. The note was flat,
Mm-hmm.
like she was going out of tune,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a semitone. And he was like, "Oh my God, this is Whitney Houston.
Mm-hmm. How you gonna tell
I gotta
her?
tell her that she's out of tune."
Mm.
And at some point, he was like, "But I'm the producer here, so I need to tell her."
Oh, that's tough.
And he was like,
Oh man.
"Hey, Miss Winnie,
Yeah.
Oh.
the note is flat. You are out of tune." Now, that's what I'm saying. It all goes down to the relationship.
Yes.
Whitney came close and beat him on the back like this.
Oh.
He was like, "Baby, the knot is not flat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bending the knot."
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. That is yeah.
so that tells you that your ear is not good enough to tell that I'm bending the knot and I'm coming back
To it.
to it again.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many things
That's
that
what-
play
Different
with this.
situation.
It is a relationship. I mean, knowing the artist. I mean, honestly, this is just me. If I was a producer and I was producing for Whitney Houston, I'm keeping my mouth shut. And
You know?
right, because if I know, okay,
This is
she's a
Whitney.
big, she's got,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
made. There's certain things people are gonna let slide because sometimes even those imperfections and things are
Yeah.
is part of her character and her voice, right?
That's true.
You're buying that name. You can't really tamper with the name, so you kind of gotta know that, right? She's Whitney Houston if she's already established. Maybe if she was kind of young and still kind of finding her way,
Yeah.
we could be like, okay, can you try to hit that a little bit more? You might have gotten away with it, and maybe later in her career, she wouldn't ever bend the note that way
Yeah.
because you got her in the beginning.
Yeah.
If she's already established as a producer, I'm thinking, let it go. Another producer, take the risk. Hey, you go to the fire, you get burned. Okay, just step back and take it. I think it's there's no right or wrong with it.
That's the thing.
There's no right or wrong.
Communication.
You communicate as best you can. We are working with different people, different attitudes, different confidence, different all kinds of things. It's just part of the world. It's part of the job.
All right.
We'll-
Yeah.
move on.
We'll see how the future goes.
It's
what
an
I'm-
interesting topic.
Yeah, that's what I'll just wait for what the producers I work with are gonna be able to tell me in the future. Yeah, speaking you. But you know what, Major?
Yeah.
What a great show.
It was
What a
great.
great show.
It's great.
And Jenelle, it's just we're very happy that you were here. We're very proud of you for the
Yeah.
journey, coming from Trinidad, not to a new country, and just never giving up, going to school, complete everything, getting a job, working the job, music. Really, so we are very, very honestly proud of you, and we are
Thank
happy
you.
that you're in this journey. You've made everybody happy here today. You've
I'm
made
so
everybody
glad.
happy.
I've done my
Yeah.
job.
I can't even hold. I'm laughing like
That's
crazy.
good.
It's absolutely one of the best shows. So we do really
Aw.
appreciate you a lot. I do want to give you a time to just shout out yourself first of all, and then let know of the audience where they can find you, find your music and your performances if you're about to perform and such things. So if you could please have the floor is yours.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Jenelle Reid. You can find me on Instagram, Janny2Music. I've got music on all platforms. You could definitely listen to it on Spotify. I have a few shows coming up, but I still am waiting for the details on it. But I will put it on my social media, so you'll have a little bit more information on that. So, thank you.
Look at that. That's the me. You know what? Also, shout out to you also for being a teacher because the whole show today you were just nailing it, and you were nailing it in different category. I'm like, okay, that's so really well done speaking
Thank you.
and making everything so clear. So we do appreciate you guys for tuning in for today, man. And Major, if you know, I'm sorry if I'm cutting you right now.
No,
Close it out. You know what I'm saying?
I'm already
It's
happy.
that time
man.
to
I
show
think
you up.
No, I think no. Today there's no yes no
I
question.
think they are.
She-
I think today you really
I already
happy and you got
I'm
everything.
happy, man.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
Awesome. But we really do appreciate our audience for joining today, and hopefully you've learned a lot. Musicians, for sure, we got a long way to go. It's never enough. You know what I'm saying? And everything Janelle said today, it's all about just learning, man, and keep working. If you want to have a vocal coach, go ahead and go get it. Go get
Yeah.
the thing so you can hit those notes at the studio and you don't have to have that competition with a
Yeah.
producer. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to go through all that. So but we do appreciate you guys for joining us, and thank you so much, Jenelle Reid, for
Thank
being
you.
out
Jenelle
here.
Reid,
You
right?
see what I'm saying? You see, I got you there.
got
Actually,
it.
people we
Listen.
should help Janelle to open a music school.
Oh,
Come
man.
on,
I'd love it. I'll take you all,
Yeah,
guys.
Oh man,
just get her
Not
25
a problem.
students and then she's ready to go.
100%,
You know?
100%. That would be really amazing.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, we really do appreciate you for joining Afro DS for Tuesday chatting day, man. And if you want to be our next guest, make sure you hit up OC Music, DM everything you want to DM, what you want to talk about. And we're gonna have you here so we can talk and we can chat just like today, you know. But continue to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow the family and follow my girl over here, man, Janelle, for coming out here. Shout out to her. And now we're gonna do the closing. You know what I'm saying? The drill is here. This is my favorite time. Let me get ready. Oh yeah. I'm your host, Baraka, first of all. Ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? On my right side, we got Major.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
I'm the co-host.
Hey, we gotta put some clap on you.
Yeah,
Here,
of course,
buddy.
yeah.
Yeah, we need to get that
Should
thing.
just do this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, you know what I'm saying, for tuning in. And obviously, on my left side, the one and only Jenelle Reid. Appreciate you for coming out here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you around. It's not the first time. We're going to see you again.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a good night. We'll see you again next week. We are out. Peace.